Okay, so the question is, what is space tourism? What are the advantages and disadvantages of space tourism? I want you to take 10 minutes time, write down 2 pages minimum. Okay, one more thing. I want you to slowly learn to structure your answer as well. Okay, so there should be a proper introduction, then the body, and then the conclusion. Okay, and try to write in points, not in big paragraphs. If you start the answer last ಗೆ ಎಲ್ಲ end ಮಾಡೋದು in one sentence, nobody is going to read stories. Okay, try to break it down to short sentences. Always try to keep it maximum 3 lines. After that, you have to break it to next point. Clear? Okay, try write 2 pages. Okay, so we'll just briefly discuss the answer now. Okay, so the question basically asks, says what is space tourism? What are the advantages and disadvantages? Very simple, no application, no analysis. You can straight away start with explaining or defining what is space tourism. Okay, so what will you say? Space tourism is nothing but human space travel for leisure activities. That is nothing but your space tourism. Then you can say space tourism gives effect to the concept of new space. Underline new space. See, how many of you, I'm just saying for the same question, how many of the candidates would have written new space? You write new space, you underline new space. That will make your answer stand out when compared to others. So the person evaluating the question, oh, he's written new space, he or she has written new space. So these are the things that you have to do. You know it. I've told you what is new space, but did you write new space? You know what is new space, but did you write new space? This is what is going to differentiate a good answer from a moderate answer. Everybody is going to write space tourism is nothing but where humans travel or go to space for leisure activities on vacation, etc., etc. Okay, so this you have to do. So these are the things that you have to do. Write it in short. Okay, then you might go further and say that space tourism can be of different types. It could be suborbital, it could be orbital, or it could also be to going to moon. When you write these things, wherever possible, please make a note of this. By the time you write mains, you may forget this. Wherever possible, draw a diagram. Wherever possible. You might think it is silly, but if it is possible, draw a diagram. So when I say space tourism can be of different types, suborbital, you draw this. Earth, suborbital. Orbital, Earth, orbital, going one full round. Okay, suborbital is going up and just coming down. Okay, or lunar missions, moon, going there. You draw this in small. How much space do you think it is going to take? Right, suborbital, orbital, lunar. Don't you think you'll get more marks? So these are the things that you have to do. And I understand it is not going to come all of a sudden. For this, you have to practice. So if you write every day, these things automatically over a period of time, you don't have to think, it will come to you automatically. It will come to you automatically. Okay, so this you can end here with respect to first part of the question. Then you can move on to advantages and disadvantages. Okay, so by writing this much, you would have filled half a page, at least. Minimum, you would have filled half a page. Now moving on to advantages. You tell me, what are the advantages? Scientists will be able to study the physiological changes after coming back from place of different age groups. Exactly. So this tourism can be used for experimentation with respect to studying the effect of space travel on humans, which can be used for future space travel if humans have to go for a longer distance. Correct? That is there. Okay. What next? Innovation. Innovation and invention. So one big advantage is that when you commercialize anything, you get a greater access to funds. So now people will start giving money. So you have greater access to funds. Those funds can be used for invention, innovation. You can use those funds to put it into research. As of today, accessing funds is very difficult. But when you commercialize it, okay. Now, see, for example, I do not agree with it. But the biggest argument with respect to your Formula One racing or your MotoGP is that it helps in development of technology. I don't agree with it. Okay, I feel it is a nonsensical argument. But in this case, yes. So when you try to spend commercialize, okay, there will be new technology which is developed, new innovation or invention which takes place. Okay, what next? Competition. Competition will bring down the price of space travel. Only when it is commercialized, only when you have greater competition, will the price expenditure of space travel will go down, and it will become much cheaper. Correct? What else? Increase FDI, contribution to GDP, increase in employment. Poor country, infrastructure development. Infrastructure development, it can lead to, yes, more launch stations being set up closer to the equator for launching satellites. Soft power, yes, it can lead to international relations. International relations, yes. Okay, what else? Obviously, so it will actually aid in future space travel. It will aid in future space travel. One day, see, humans had their origin on Earth, but I don't think humans' end is on Earth. Humans are meant to go to outer space. One day that will happen. The only problem is that we are born too early. We will not live long enough to see interstellar space travel. One day it will happen. One day, just like going from Bangalore to Mysore, people will go from Earth to Mars, Earth to Moon. That will happen. Okay, that is the future. Okay, there is another sad part to it that is different. Leave it. Okay, when we have such a beautiful place like Earth, we will destroy this and then go to some other place. That is the sad part about it. Okay, we are actually spending so much of money saying that we will go there to Mars and the Moon. When you can spend so much of money in preserving and protecting Earth, we won't do that. Okay, but yes, space travel is the future that is going to happen. Okay, and maybe if because the trajectory of development of technology is very fast now. Technology is developing much quicker when compared to earlier decades. Maybe very soon we also should be able to go to outer space, considering that we all make enough money. Okay, so if we make enough money, we should be able to go to outer space. Okay, what other advantages? Boost economy, yes. Who conducts tourism? We can attract other country people. Correct. Yes, boost economy. Find a place for humans to live. Find new minerals and precious materials. Yes, over a period of time that can be used for other areas as well. Inspires new generation about space and technology. Correct. Adventure tourism. Okay, adventure tourism. What else? Expansion of private sector involvement in space tourism. As of now, it is only public sector which is involved. It will give access to private sector. Correct? What else? Is anything else? I think this is sufficient number of points for advantages. Correct? You won't be able to write everything. Obviously, even if I am writing the answer, I won't be able to write it in that short period of time. Now, moving over to disadvantages. Okay, what are the disadvantages of space tourism? Correct, low affordability. So there is this class system discrimination and differentiation. So only those who are well off will be able to explore space tourism, whereas the rest of us will not even have a chance to explore space. So this class differentiation will take place. Okay, because it is not affordable to anyone, only the rich. It is only the rich who will be able to make the best or enjoy the benefits of space travel and space tourism. Bad for environment, yes, as Pallavi is saying, environmental damage. Now see here, I'll tell you one thing. For example, you're writing environmental damage. What is the disadvantage? Now the thing is that everybody will write environmental damage. Many of them. Disadvantage and what of space tourism and disadvantage, everybody will write, it will consume, it will burn a lot of fuel. See, tourism is actually one of the big is one of the major factors contributing to environmental pollution on Earth. So obviously, if you are considering space tourism, it will lead to more environmental pollution because space flight will consume more fuel. Aircrafts consume a lot of fuel when compared to your vehicles, on-ground vehicles. So obviously, space flight will consume even more fuel. Now the thing is that everybody will write this. What can you do to stand out? Okay, the thing is that, see, I know you don't know the figure, but I am saying, just consider this. Simply write bad for environmental damage. space flight, every space flight will emit more than 600 tons of carbon dioxide or black carbon. You don't know it. Nobody who is checking the answer is going to Google and see that is it 600 tons or is it 500 tons or is it 650 tons. You write it. I hope you're getting my point. Everybody will write it. Okay, how will you stand out? You write something extra. Even though you know that it is not 600, it may or may not be 600 Gotilla. You guess, take a number, don't overdo it. Then they'll also come to know. But in some places, boost yourself. Okay, nobody, see, over there, nobody is going to take their phone, Google might be to emission of carbon dioxide from space, let's go to Wikipedia. Nobody is going to check. You write it. Okay, that is what I'm saying, you have to be smart. It is not possible for you to read everything. Even if you have read the amount of carbon dioxide, black carbon that is emitted on the examination, all you will not remember the figure. If you don't remember the figure, write something sensible. Okay, don't write only 1 ton. Obviously, it is not going to make sense. Okay. Time consuming. Yes, it is a time consuming process. Dangerous. It is actually dangerous. Ozone, bad for the environment, ozone layer, cost benefit ratio, lack of regulation. Now, the thing is that we do not have any international treaty or international, understanding with respect to space sector. So tomorrow, if we are going to explore the space tourism, there is no connection between nations. There is no order, treaty, understanding or convention to regulate this process of space tourism. Okay, so this can actually lead to fallout as well. Just as how it can boost soft power, it can increase connections and it can benefit international relations. At the same time, it may be damaging international relations as well, because we do not have any policy to regulate space tourism. So until a policy is developed, say by the UN, then until then it should be restricted. Space tourism should be restricted. The second thing about this is that you do not have any regulatory body. For example, for aeroplane travel, you have the International Civil Aviation Organization is there. ICAO is there. So any kind of dispute that you have, you can take it to ICAO. ICAO will regulate entire air travel, but you do not have any such body to regulate space travel. So we have to develop that first. We have to build that first. Until then, it is going to lead only to conflicts. It will only lead to conflicts. Okay. Can start conflict between countries and may even lead to space war. If you write environmental damage, you have to write environmental air pollution. Okay, then you can write about carbon emissions. Then you have to write coastal damages across coastal ecosystems. Okay, so this you have to break it down under the same point, under environmental damage. Okay, what else? Space junk, space debris. It will increase space debris. Unhealthy competition, correct. Unhealthy competition between countries will lead to conflicts between countries. Okay, so there can be a space race. There can be a space race. People can go and demarcate certain amount of land as theirs. Where? In outer planets. But for that we have outer space treaty. We discussed yesterday. We have outer space treaty. For that is at least regulated, at least now. So you mention these things. We have outer space treaty, but we do not have any other convention for this. You have to mention all these things. Okay, it can lead to disadvantage. It can lead to space race. Okay, another advantage. Disadvantage is that what do you say? We still do not understand the complete ill effects of outer space travel on human health. Okay, so that is also there. How does it damage? One area is advantage is that we'll understand the effects, but at the same time, if simply people without without any experience or training go into outer space continuously, it will affect their health. And we have very poor knowledge of this mass scale travel to outer space? What are the ill effects of that? This is also another disadvantage. Okay, now you will not stop here. You have to write a proper good conclusion. Many of us will write, okay, question is asking what is space tourism? Na bar de dene. What is advantages? I have written. What are disadvantages? I have written. Move on to next question. No. Write something else, write something extra. I understand it will take time. Okay, to write 2 lines, you need time. For that, you have to increase speed. Your thinking has to go faster. And the only way to achieve that is only through practice. Okay, I understand notification has not come. You'll find it very difficult to sit and write. But what to do? Do you have a better choice option? There's a better option, do that. If this is the option path that you've taken, you have to practice and you have to ensure that you're better than the rest. Okay, so the way you can conclude is that take India. Okay, in that end line, write 2 or 3 points about India. In India, and give a small subheading and say that due to the expertise of ISRO and the government setting up New Space India Limited, there is a great, field for space tourism to develop in India, which can also contribute to Indian economy. Something like this. I'm not saying you have to only write this. Write something like this and end it. You'll get more marks. At least half a mark. You'll get more. And if you get half a mark extra in every question, in 20, 21 questions, if you get half a mark, how much? 10 marks extra. 10 marks extra in every paper. So this is how you have to slowly increase. See, I understand you'll get a lot of feedback, you'll get a lot of knowledge. Everybody will tell you something. I will tell you something. Tomorrow, some other person taking class will tell you something. Wherever possible, whatever you feel is advantageous for you, whatever you feel you can apply and implement, take the best. I'm not saying that whatever I say you have to implement it, but whatever you feel is going to help you, take that, implement it.